Tucker Carlson is an American conservative political commentator who hosted the nightly political talk show Tucker Carlson Tonight on Fox News from 2016 to 2023. Since his contract with Fox News was terminated, he has hosted Tucker on X and The Tucker Carlson Show. Born May 16, 1969, age 55 years, San Francisco, California, United States. Spouse, Susan Andrews, M. 1991. Children, Buckley Carlson, Hopi Carlson, Lily Carlson, Dorothy Carlson. Education, Trinity College, 1991. St. George's School, 1987. See more. Height, 1.85 meters. Personal life. Carlson is married to Susan Thompson Carlson, née Andrews. They met at St. George's School, where she was the daughter of the school's headmaster and priest. They were married on August 10, 1991, in the school chapel. They have 4 children. His son Buckley is Deputy Press Secretary to Vice President J.D. Vance. Career. Carlson began his career in journalism as a fact-checker for Policy Review, a national conservative journal then published by the Heritage Foundation and later acquired by the Hoover Institution. He then worked as an opinion writer at the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette newspaper in Little Rock, Arkansas, before joining the Weekly Standard News magazine in 1995. Writer Andrew Ferguson, who served as senior editor of the Weekly Standard, said that Carlson had as much talent as anybody who ever came through the door. Carlson sought a role with the publication after hearing of its founding, fearing he would be written off as a wing nut if he instead joined the American Spectator. In 1999, Carlson interviewed then-Governor George W. Bush for Talk magazine. He quoted Bush mocking Carla Faye Tucker, who was executed in Bush's state of Texas, and frequently using the word fuck. The piece led to bad publicity for Bush's 2000 presidential campaign. Bush claimed that Mr. Carlson mischaracterized me. He's a good reporter, he just misunderstood about how serious that was. I take the death penalty very seriously. Among liberals, Carlson's piece received praise, with Democratic consultant Bob Shrum calling it vivid. Carlson said of the interview, "I thought I'd be ragged for writing a puffy piece. My wife said people are going to think you're hunting for a job in the Bush campaign." Further into his career in print, Carlson worked as a columnist for New York Magazine and Reader's Digest, writing for Esquire, Slate, The Weekly Standard, The New Republic, The New York Times Magazine, The Daily Beast, and The Wall Street Journal. John F. Harris of Politico would later remark on how Carlson was viewed as an important voice of the intelligentsia during this period. While working on a story for New York covering the Taliban, Carlson, alongside his father, was involved in a plane crash as it made its landing on a runway in Dubai on October 17, 2001. Carlson's 2003 Esquire profile on his journey to Liberia alongside Reverend Al Sharpton and other civil and political rights activists would garner a nomination at the National Magazine Awards. In his early television career, Carlson wore bow ties, a habit from boarding school he continued on air until 2006. On June 21, 2021, New York Times reporter Ben Smith reported that Carlson was a media source for several journalists and authors, including Michael Isikoff, Michael Wolff, Brian Stelter, and others who wrote critically of Donald Trump. Early life and education. Carlson was born Tucker McNear Carlson at the Children's Hospital in San Francisco, California, on May 16, 1969. He is the elder son of Lisa McNear, née Lombardi, 1945 to 2011, an artist from San Francisco, and Dick Carlson, 1941, a former Gonzo reporter who became the director of Voice of America, president of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and the U.S. ambassador to the Seychelles, and more recently a director at the lobbying firm Policy Impact Strategic Communications. Carlson's brother, Buckley Peck Carlson, later Buckley Swanson Peck Carlson, is nearly 2 years younger and has worked as a communications manager and a Republican Party political operative. Carlson's paternal grandparents were Richard Boynton and Dorothy Anderson, who were teenagers when they placed his father at the home for Little Wanderers Orphanage, where he was fostered by Carl Moberger of Malden, near Boston, a tannery worker of Swedish descent, and his wife Florence Moberger. Carlson's father was adopted at the age of 2 by upper-middle-class New Englanders, the Carlsons, an executive at the Winslow Brothers and Smith Tannery of Norwood, the oldest tannery in America, and his wife. Carlson's maternal great-great-great-grandfather was Henry Miller, the cattle king. Carlson's maternal great-great-grandfather Caesar Lombardi immigrated to New York from Switzerland in 1860. Carlson is also a distant relative of Massachusetts politicians Ebenezer R. Hoar and George M. Brooks. Carlson himself was named after his great-great-great-grandfather J.C. Tucker and his great-great-grandfather George W. McNear. Carlson is of 1/32nd Italian-Swiss ancestry. In 1976, Carlson's parents divorced after the 9-year marriage reportedly turned sour. Carlson's father was granted custody of Tucker and his brother. Carlson's mother left the family when he was 6 and moved to France. The boys never saw her again. When Carlson was in first grade, his father moved Tucker and his brother to the La Jolla neighborhood of San Diego, California, and raised them there. Carlson attended La Jolla Country Day School and grew up in a home overlooking the La Jolla Beach and Tennis Club. His father owned property in Nevada and Vermont, and islands in Maine and Nova Scotia. In 1984, his father unsuccessfully challenged the incumbent Republican Party Mayor Roger Hedgecock in the San Diego mayoral race. In 1979, Carlson's father married Patricia Caroline Swanson, an heiress to Swanson Enterprises, daughter of Gilbert Carl Swanson and niece of Senator J. William Fulbright. Though Patricia remained a beneficiary of the family fortune, the Swansons had sold the brand to the Campbell Soup Company in 1955 and did not own it by the time of Carlson's father's marriage. This was the third marriage for Swanson, who legally adopted Tucker Carlson and his brother. Carlson was briefly enrolled at College du Liman, a boarding school in the canton of Geneva in French-speaking Switzerland, but said he was kicked out. He attained his secondary education at St. George's School, a boarding school in Middletown, Rhode Island, where he started dating his future wife, Susan Andrews, the headmaster's daughter. He then spent 4 years attending Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, and graduated in 1991 with a BA in history. Carlson's Trinity yearbook describes him as a member of the Dan White Society, an apparent reference to the American political assassin who murdered San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk. After college, Carlson tried to join the Central Intelligence Agency, but his application was denied, after which he decided to pursue a career in journalism with the encouragement of his father, who advised him that they'll take anybody.